Are you ready for the quantum age?
Humanity's next step in evolution?
Dream Vision 7 Radio Network invites you to the extraordinary platform of evolutionary voices for the quantum age.
Let's explore. Learn more about this upcoming age where we bridge science with spirituality.
Where potentiality meets reality.
Where we take compassion into action.
Our trailblazers and visionaries will ask the whys, the what-ifs, while igniting continuous possibility.
Come along with us into an age beyond what we know today, where we can grow together in unity consciousness.
Experience evolutionary voices for the quantum age, Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on DreamVision7Radio.com.
Welcome to Awakening to True Happiness with modern-day mystic David Hoffmeister, offering you the how-to to spiritual awakening by addressing on a practical level answers to your deepest questions. David Hoffmeister is a world-renowned teacher of A Course in Miracles and has been traveling the world for the past quarter of a century, offering his wisdom to audiences wherever invited. On this show, you'll hear recordings of David's best live talks, inviting you into an experience of deep wisdom and true clarity. To learn more about David, visit his website at davidhoffmeister.com. Awakening to True Happiness with David Hoffmeister is part of Evolutionary Voices for the Quantum Age, heard Monday through Friday at 8 a.m. and 8 p.m. Eastern on the Dream Vision 7 Radio Network.
We are here to go into that magnitude and to really give way to that. And that song, Let It Go, really is, it's really letting go of fear. It's also, the past is in the past. It's letting go of time, and it's letting go of fear. And it's important to start to realize that time and fear are the same thing. At the ego made up linear time, the ego is fear, and you have to release yourself from this linear time construct in order to truly be free and have a free mind, have a free spirit, have a free soul. And that's the thing that we're doing all this mind training for. That's what requires discipline. It's the disciplining the mind to relinquish these beliefs in linear time. And even at the beginning of the workbook, Jesus says that here are some new time ideas for you. So he's replacing these linear constructs of the ego with a focus on the present moment, a focus on the holy instant. And we know now is the time. In fact, it's February 2nd, so the first thing I thought of was it's Groundhog's Day. It's time to escape that loop. Isn't that a famous movie for being stuck in the loop of time? Bill Murray. And it's also the day that This Moment Is Your Miracle releases, on Groundhog's Day. I didn't even plan that. But I think the Spirit, Jesus is having so much fun. Just dawned on me this morning, releasing This Moment Is Your Miracle on Groundhog's Day, when Phil, the weatherman, is trying to escape this crazy loop. To me, no coincidence. I didn't pick it, but it's part of a bigger plan. So actually it's out now. No more pre-ordering. It's available. And what will it take for us to experience our magnitude? Well, we are told that the past is over and the future is but imagined. And these concerns, past and future, are but defenses against present change of focus. So we're at the point in this awakening where we have to start to realize, when Ram Dass wrote decades ago, "Be Here Now." Anybody ever remember that book? It goes back a few decades. Be Here Now. When Eckhart Tolle published The Power of Now, when This Moment Is Your Miracle is coming out on Groundhog Day, it's really pretty strong symbology from the Spirit We're back. I had a frozen moment, but the past is in the past. So we're zooming in on the present moment, and I was actually reading through some of the questions. I think Esther was saying that, whenever she gets into this cause and effect stuff, that her mind is still a bit foggy. Could you still clarify that? I think really, honestly, what we're doing is we are clarifying this cause and effect stuff. And Esther was saying that as much as we go over it, it's still a bit foggy. I had a student back many, many years ago who was working with me and living with me and actually was getting into some of the deep teachings I had done on cause and effect from actually the 1990s. I started sharing a lot of these deep teachings from the course on cause and effect from in the 1990s, and I had done sessions, and at one point the student said, well, can I just go over these? And I said, here, I'll put them all together into one segment. And he said he listened to the segment, which it took some time, but he listened to it 6 times, because he listened to the first time and he said, what was that? I don't know what that is. Then the second time, I don't get this. Third time, I don't get this. He's listening to the direct teachings, verbal teachings right out of my mouth that have been recorded, and he's playing the recording over. 4th time, I don't get it. 5th time, I was starting to feel something, and the 6th time, he started to be able to let some of this stuff in. So eventually I just said, well, maybe it's better that you transcribe these talks, because if you're just getting it in an auditory way, maybe it's better if you listen to it and you read along and you follow with your eyes, maybe that will help. Well, even with that, he said, this stuff is so deep. He said, there's something in my mind that doesn't want to get this. It would rather be foggy than understand this. And I know that sometimes they've done that with teachers where they record them and then they transcribe them, and sometimes the transcripts look like gibberish. But actually these transcripts are very well. If any of you want to take a note right now, I'll tell you, just Google my name, David Hoffmeister, and put reversing cause and effect. And you can come in contact with the audio and the transcript. But I'm telling you, it may take you a year to go through this brief audio and this transcript, because the mind is so resistant to these ideas about cause and effect. And the reason I'm bringing them up is, of course, Esther asked for them. It was also mentioned in a couple other questions. And if we're going to really wake up from littleness to magnitude, you have to have a clear grasp about cause and effect before you can be a miracle worker, and number 2, accept the atonement and wake up from this dream. You have to have a clear, very clear, concise experience of cause and effect. Some of you may have a lot of false ideas of cause and effect in your mind. How many of you were interested at any time in your life in science? Anybody, any scientists, people enjoying science? Well, I'll tell you one thing, most of us were all raised with Newtonian science and Newtonian physics, and it's off. It was off. We were poorly taught in our classes. Even our scientific method, which had studying the empirical world and looking at all the cause-effect relationships in terms of this world. Even physics, we were taught for every action there's a reaction. All of our chemistry, we were taught. All of the things most of us were taught have the underlying belief that there's causes and effects in this world. And basically, that's what Newtonian physics was about. It was about studying empirically, studying the world in all kinds of different ways and learning about these cause-effect relationship. And this touches every single discipline in the world. When you go to university and you study all those different disciplines, you're studying cause-effect relationships is basically what they are. And I'm telling you right now, none of them are true. Even, let's say you're maybe not so inclined into the physical sciences and so forth, but let's say you're a homemaker and you like to bake. There's a lot of false cause-effect relationship in all of your recipes for that apple pie, for that lasagna, for those chocolate chip cookies. That's right, maybe even you're a homemaker and you like to bake, and there's a lot of false cause-effect relationships in even baking, because it involves temperature and texture, ingredients, mixing, and it involves interactions between various types of matter that comes out, hopefully, into a baked product that's not too brown and burnt and not too raw and gooey. You know what I'm talking about. Even if you're not into engineering and vectors and stresses like that, from anywhere from homemaking to engineering, we have to get past this whole Newtonian idea that there's causes and effects in the world. So I know I've taught this a lot over the years, but I'm going to do it again, because there's no way that you go from littleness to magnitude without getting your cause and effect straight. It's like you got to know your A, B's, and C's and D's. You've got to know your alphabet if you're going to learn grammar. If you want to learn trigonometry, you better have your addition and subtraction down. And if you want to learn calculus, you better have your trigonometry down. You're going nowhere. There are building blocks. And just like in science and just like in mathematics, if you don't have your building blocks clear, then you're not going to be able to be a consistent miracle worker, because miracles require a clarity of cause and effect. So, first of all, let me give you, I always talk about false cause-effect relationships and spurious cause-effect relationship. Let me give you an actual, factual cause-effect relationship. This is really the only one that you ever have to experience to be happy. If you can just get this one cause-effect relationship, then you have returned to spirit. You have returned to divine creation. You have returned to eternity. And the basic cause and effect relationship is God is the cause, Christ is the effect. Okay, that's it. That's what Jesus meant by the Father and I are one. There was two parts to the statement. The Father and I are one, the Creator and the creation. Christ is an effect of God. I am as God created me is a beautiful statement of a perfect cause-effect relationship that's actually real and actually true. But there are so many religions, so many spiritualities that somehow think that God, love, divine love and light creates matter. And matter doesn't come from spirit. We have to say that again. Matter doesn't come from spirit. Spirit creates like itself. Matter is too dense. Matter could never be spirit because it's absolutely too dense. Matter is changing. Spirit does not change. Spirit is changeless. You don't get the changing from the changeless. You don't get the finite from the eternal. You don't get spirit from matter. And so when you look at this world of perception of time and space and the whole cosmos, if you want to really understand magnitude, if you want to be of good cheer and overcome the world as Christ Jesus spoke, if you want to have no fear because love is all there is, and you understand the true divine relationship of creation and love is all there is, then that's what magnitude really is. Now, in terms of this world, let me go back and talk about how the ego seemed to make this world. This world is